Welcome to our lovely future humans, to our 5D collective. To those who are new, this is a part 2, as I was ending our part 1, which has a different title, but it still involves this lovely crash zone. I misspoke. Yes, community, I did it again. Oops, I did it again. So what do educators do? Although I'm a pseudoscience woo lady because I'm a mystic, but I learned from the reliable sources. Educators empower, they don't shame, and that's why I love learning from all of the enlightening researchers, those who do the peer-reviewed stuff, and then those who say, well, we have this study and that study, and so I get to be the spiritual one, the woo-woo mystic, who tells you our spiritual growth is accurate, but from the 5D collective, it's none of God's children are better than others. Also, this beautiful, beautiful day today, with the embodied brain in the forefront, our nervous system. We are future humans because, one, I come from the future. I've told my listeners this, but besides that, we know how to ventral pivot. So check out PayHip if you want the free 10-minute pivot to your ventral vagal state when you're dealing with any of those who are humanity out there, because relational integrity is what we do honor due to the fact that we honor our own self, and that's called integrity again. Ego and self work like a team in the future human who has what's called the 9 domains of integration. It's an integrated brain. Thanks, Dr. Daniel Siegel. Okay, so I'm going to reveal to you what I fucked up in our other video, and that is then what I'm going to also continue, since I do mindset practices and journal prompts on PayHip. You find them for those of you who unlock your higher human potential. That's right. There's also 2 guides. The regulated leader, for those of you who occupy positions like myself, besides online marketing, entrepreneurship, and mentorship. You're dealing with people all night long because Jesus taught me to walk with the people, talk to the people, forgive the people, and God continues to remind me to be humble, and He never gives His children more than what they can handle. Those who reject us, the ones who try to shame with old words like evil, sin, Lucifer, monsters, energy vampires, dark auras, shame on spiritual bypassers. But wait, no, you don't shame out of shame, and you don't act grandiose, because those are both very, very unfortunate events. The grandiose modeling comes from the bad grown-ups who don't know how to use their ventral. So in their sympathetic, they shame and break human beings who are at the point of where they get broken, children. So when someone doesn't know how to handle a 0-8-year-old who's a non-securely attached person in that moment, no, that's not accurate actually. It's an emotionally vulnerable human being who needs to co-regulate. Okay, so there's a very good way that I think as Janina Fisher shows how you can teach a child that something's wrong, and again, a third attunement repairing rupture. I'm not going to do the whole. There is a right way of parenting. Those who care about their parenting style at this point understand it's not a style. It's not out of fashion. Our new paradigm is that we get taught by educators, and they enlighten us to understand it's not ever going to be perfect, but you can do your best to ventral pivot, the free guide for anybody who's doing that which is your responsibility. As grown-ups, we have a responsibility to the children of the world. The first step is you. It's not controlling my emotional volume and mental volume. I actively understand that I'm activated like anybody else when I meet 3D40. As emotionally insecure people are dysregulated. They're only one little strong energy, and I'm going to stop right now. Free will. You get to choose if you're going to grow or not. So the educators, like when I was in high school and then in college, but high school did their program. They didn't know about the nervous system, and you know who does a way better job about talking about addictions? Dr. Daniel Fox. He's got a video. I'm going to talk about that one. And he explains, the left likes explanation. And that's where I like to say the ego's over here. How do I do that? How do I do it? Because it does want control. That's because your embodied brain protects you. Mine does too, but mine's smart. We're doing the diet because the right and the left speak together. And my right laughs with the left, and then we laugh at those who are 3D40. And God chimes in to tell me to, hey, calm it down, and that's called humility. So we do understand that woo-woo pseudoscience is for those who don't believe in our spiritual embodied lives. It's okay. I do come from the future, so please bear with the funniness. That's your entertainment for those of you who don't believe in us. It's okay. I will make fun of myself when I'm a dork, and some people will still try to be nice about it. Okay, so I will get to the free will choice. It's only once you own this thing called your heart. To the Cains of the world, I spread the good news. They're loved by God too, but even way back when, the news was, hey, Cain, I forget how God said, that's not a good thing. You don't want to do what you're about to do. And guess who has family in the head? Dr. Daniel Fox mentions the family in the head, and he got it from some other therapist, and I know what it is. It's called inner critic, outer critic, and it's a bunch of not nice talks. So when people have their only one little frequency to keep them going, which is down in the visceral down here, it's a very weak one. This very unhealthy self-righteous, because as they grow up, it's no longer, I'm going to protect myself from my unsafe environment. The grandiose bad grown-ups they had around them, and a bunch more of even adolescents. I mean, I was an 11-year-old like anybody else. I still remember the backstabbing cowards. But I also remember making a promise to God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit. That's the only reason you see me here today. This is my commitment to a promise I made to God, and I'm not scared of God. I have healthy fear. And we always talk. Like, I say, hey, God, I know all your angels are saved, but some of them don't want to go get themselves healed with good therapy. So what happens to the Cains of the world, self-loathing, gut-wrench, torn apart? Yes, they stagnate, and they follow around fear-based leaders that model grandiosity and shame all over the place. Unhealthy shame. Of course, we want to understand there's a healthy version of the shame thing, but we don't need to use the word. We can explain it. So like Janina Fisher, I think it was, who showed what happens when you're going to yell at a kid because they're about to go burn themselves on a stove. You said, oh, don't do it. And they freeze, which also might cause them to have a bad date. That was Peter Levine. This was a whole other story, but the poor woman froze as all that happened was a napkin was presented in front of her. And these are how I educate the regulars. If you're new, this is what I do. I interject while I'm getting to the point of this episode. No, I really don't have any point, but you will hear about the real life zone, crash zone. Where's my title? The real world crash zone. So please do tune into our first episode so you can actually know why it's from belief to trend discernment. I don't follow trends. Trendsetters are actively a bit of a pet peeve of mine because, one, they don't actually attribute where they got their information correctly. I will make mistakes and forget names and forget to quote, but my point is they don't tell you where they got their little golden nuggets. Furthermore, because they're epistemically lazy, they don't continue learning, but also because they're not really in it to care about your well-being completely. Trendsetters do the thing called, here's a shortcut. I did the 10-minute pivot, and at the end of it, I say, and this won't resolve the whole thing of what you just dealt with, but in the moment, you self-regulate, you co-regulate, get your sovereign blueprint. If you're just beginning this journey, that's a guide for those of you who want to understand effective realism. We all have it, but some are broken free from it. And more than just that, we know autonomous self-regulation. Thanks, Pat Ogden, and our higher self. Thanks, Schwartz. We have access to the essence of us, and the soul is the same for all. So when somebody wants to interpret God to you and the big infinite world, remember that when they talk about the whole abandoning, it's like, yeah, no, God doesn't abandon his children. This interpretation of us being left on our own almost sounds like an abandoning father. Yeah, that's right. Parents aren't God. A wicked mother or abandoning mother. I mean, really, they all can go in the box. The bad grown-ups, bad mothers, bad fathers. And this is my 3-year-old who says, yeah, no, there's a good mother and father, then there's a bad mother and father. And I'm not going to make it into black and white because it's not that simple. But I do know what good is. It will be, hey, stop. And then it will be, once they come over, you did a great job as they're crying. I told you, da-da-da. And the explanation is important because that's called, I'm repairing a rupture so you don't sit with shame. And then after a certain amount of years, I find you with drugs, alcohol, and what else? Binge eating, binge drinking, binge everything. And I'm in college now, Maria, and I'm not noticing the people that are, I'm miserable. Don't fuck STDs. You don't have to. They didn't go to therapy, any of these college student friends of mine, by the way. And some actually joined so they could find out and heal themselves. And I'm like, that's not why you want to do a profession. I mean, if you're doing it for yourself, that's called self-serving. It's no wonder you don't know how to stay on all the time. You're not really there to help people. You know, to help people, you learn how to self-regulate. There you go. The ventral pivot is for those of you who understand why we heal the wounds of the world by healing our own core. And then we remember everyone who gets rejected is going to get shot through the heart. No, is going to get this same part of their brain lights up, because our bodies aren't more special than other bodies. But our future humans, because they're educated by those who are smart, I'm part of the team. I'm just also an entertainer because people don't believe in us, the spiritual ones. But see, it's not, I'm going to prove spirituality. It's, you don't have to see me. I don't need you to soothe, save, secure. When I came out as a mystic, I was not like, oh, my family, they're making so much fun of me and my twin flames, and they think I'm like deluded and that I'm actually like, you know, ungrounded from reality. And little do they know, I just recently had a visit from other future. No, they're galactic beings, not future humans. My future human came to visit me. Oh, these galactic beings, they're amazing. Two of them, a couple. I think there were a couple. Okay, let me get back to our lovely enlightening educators. I try to be a part of that. So free will has us choose what to do with knowledge. I like to share with you the smart, reliable sources teach me, but I will fuck it up. And I will continue to do that. And I'm always thinking about that because of the ones who I really need to start leaving alone. Because they can go grab their dictionaries, regurgitate, do their linearity thing, and I'm like, oh, you're only using half a brain. Yeah, no, you want to get the right to work with the left so you don't sound like a jackass. I sound like a jackass to the people who don't know why I forgive all the time. And they think that we're bypassing and faking it. No, forgiveness is for the mature adult who understands that all children can fuck it up, one, and we don't treat them like little pieces of shit, two, and that the bad grown-ups, fear-based leaders, they don't create leaders, they create followers. We don't follow the trendsetters. They forget to tell us about, no, they don't care how they got the information, they don't keep learning, and then they don't say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I'm sorry, I fucked it up. Hey, excuse me. No, they make videos of telling you how to articulate, and you never say you're sorry, and you think, wow, there's some grandiose asshole right there in front of me, and you think you're going to get a better job. No, you're going to be a toxic environment in the work sphere. I won't be definitely reacting to you. I'll be able to maturely self-regulate, co-regulate, and then say, let me go find a better company with a good environment, with those who train people with the soft skills to become emotionally intelligent, mature, because I don't need to put up with their maladaptive patterns of behavior that they're taking in a work sphere, not to mention a project leader, whoever it would be, with very bad habits that they become basically not even Gargamel or Grumpy Bear. It's more like Hook. Yeah, it's like a bunch of hooks, Peter Pans, and the Lost Boys. So when you think of 3D, 4D, don't make them out to be monsters. I'm trying to dismantle the evil word, the sin word, the ancestor word, because if the actual people who want to keep using them cared about God's children, they'd be like, hey, they're all saved. Science proves it. They can be restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating it. And how is the real world going to work? Let me tell you. So number one, no core wounds, no self-loathing, gut-wrenching apart. Because those who care about themselves and are actually responsible, they go self-regulate. Once they self-regulate their emotional volume and mental volume, they learn from people like Dr. Daniel Fox how it's okay, addictions, you can have a fallback. They actually have a perfectly matched role. They have a good role. Oh, they have a good role, but it's a bad role. So anyways, his video's on there. Let me give you the title. In case you're curious, I love the man. He is so amazing, and he informs you, educates you, and don't shame, because see, this is the part. So in there, I remember all the kids, nobody listened. And I'm a grown woman. There's a bunch of people who think cocaine's amazing. So is getting drunk to the bejesus of them. And they look at me like I'm the weirdo. And I'm like, look, I know the teenagers who think, how can I escape reality? But without drugs or alcohol, think they're doing better than you, but they're not. Nobody is, because actively, nobody needs to be shamed. Here's the deal. You have an embodied brain and your nervous system. If you're not wielding it, then you're not wielding self-regulation. So you don't actually control your emotional volume or your mental volume, for that matter. And remember the family in the head that I told you about? So thank you, lovely Dr. Daniel Fox. Why addiction feels impossible to beat. He says it fits the pain. So he gives you a really good explanation. He posted like 6 days ago or something. But the way he explains it gives a person who is looking to work with themselves an answer. And here's the beauty for those who are self-aware, accountable, and are able to regulate. Once they understand it, it's like, hey, well, I can put my best foot forward and do the wiggle room dance. We all have flaws and imperfections, so we all will have that which is something that comforts and supports us. But once you have the left understanding it and the right, and you love yourself first, but that's because you also want to support everyone else. So what are we doing here? Why do we do mindset practices, journaling? Why do you do personal growth? Are you doing it for a trend? I don't do shit for trends, as that's actually very superficial, but also because my pet peeve. Don't fake it. Bring it to me. Show me what you're made of. Unlock your human potential. That's why I am one of God's children in the sense of spiritual. That's the only way I'm going to be able to make it sense. No, actually, I can make sense from science. Excuse me, I'm so sorry, but I am spiritual, so I have to share that because the science proved to me what I got taught from my Christian Catholic catechist, the good ones, that we're all angels, which is why I, to this day, 3-year-old, disappointed those grown-ups that are continuing with the ancient words. Oh, I'm so sorry, God, thank you. As he pointed out, I never give my children more than what they can handle. And as I know, rejection, shot through the heart. No, it's that fear-based leaders, they all have the same song. Lack of imagination for evil. Really, you must lack the education, and you must still enjoy using an ancient, ancestral, ignorant word instead of approaching the conversation psychopathy. There's an exact brain chemistry and science, and I don't know all of it. So when people get educated by empowering leaders, they will know how to explain. When those who want to follow around the crowd want to continue having a good team and a bad team, well, to the Cains of the world, again, their little self-righteous energy is unhealthy. It's visible. It's, hey, ego, what's up? Did you want to be the special ones? Oh, I see. You really, really crave to be special. Yeah, I think you haven't made your own inner world healthy enough to know I don't need to approve of you. Like lovely Terrio points out, when you love someone without needing them, it's liberating. I like to say that's actually what love's always been about. So you self-regulate because you understand what a habit is. And that's why we do micro habits. So the ventral pivot, the 10-minute, it's good for those who are self-aware, accountable, regulating because they want to. As for the patterns of behavior, we all have patterns, but because we spot our own effective realism, strong emotions, we don't label them facts or data or any of that. We know how to handle ourselves. And then with educators like Dr. Daniel Fox and more, Dr. Daniel Siegel, Mezzo Vanderkolk, Stephen Porges, Junior Fisher, Pat Ogden, Juliana Atchison, I think is her. No, that was my teacher. I think her last name's Atchison. I should write her. But random side note, my point is that when you are connected to what is objectively true, those smart educators, you will hear the truth because you're not seeking to be part of a trend or to be validated. While those who want to be validated, we're the special group, we're right, they're wrong, and want to continue using our ancestry's words the exact same way. That's actually why DARE didn't work. Dr. Daniel Fox, his explanation will work. Gabor Mate mentions not why the addiction, why the pain, but see, that didn't actually fit the bill, while Dr. Daniel Fox gave every single bit of explanation, and then he gave you a way to work with it. And that's empowering. So I create an empowering video that can support those who are on a journey, and then obviously offer them also sources that are accessible, and then references and numbers. So remember, educators will always empower you, and they will do their best. They will still potentially, yes, fuck it up. I'm a yellow, I'm not a red, but you better bet those who will say she's a red are the same ones who are talking over me, because the left talks over people when they don't work with the right. That means, excuse me, you're confusing science spirituality. No, I'm not. I bring them together on my podcast. I do personal growth and spiritual growth. I'm an Akashic record reader. I'm a Reiki master. I am a lot of things. And no, you're two. Oh, I see. Two. Strike two. No. Yes, I'm a Reiki master too. Okay, strike three, because they're correcting me once more. That's called a 3-year-old who believes they're right with a 16-year-old who's a jackass, who I say, okay, you know what? I'm actually curious now, because that's how it works. My pivot was, let me think, I can be stupid too. So I'm just going to pause myself, listen to what they have to say. And today I can tell you, we all have the same core wound. Our 3-year-old, me, I want to talk. There's this amazing therapist who shares a short 30 seconds before his session is over. His client is, I have this really big important thing to tell you. And he's making fun of it, but in the educational part, he says, joking aside, this is actually the brain protecting oneself. There's enough safety to want to share something vulnerable and enough distance to avoid having to really settle in with it. So that's their pivot. And they are going to therapy. And that therapist is awesome. Made me laugh and then explained to me. And I'm like, oh, wow, look, that's so cool. So when I say, hey, no, don't go yet. I want to tell you more stuff. I don't have I'm so ashamed after. So I have a very different way of feeling when I feel good. I feel good. No, it's safe to feel good. That's how it works. Okay, so as we conclude this lovely episode with a little bit of this and a little bit of that, the less connected you are to what is objectively true, the less likely you're able to make decisions that will benefit your life, the life of your family, even civilization itself. Thank you, Neil deGrasse. And so I'm grounded in reality, and while people don't believe in our mystic stuff, it's fine to me. But like I was saying, God and I have a pact, and I can't explain it logically. I can only tell you about my embodied spiritual experiences, and that's for another time. For here, the real world crash zone. So as I was reading to you at the end, and I told you the 18 to 254 day reality, that actually is how long it takes for a behavior to become automatic, with the statistical average being 66 days. So that's not the predictable crash zone. And really, that predictable crash zone is a viral thing that went on. We all have dopamine. So you regulate yourself, dopamine, all this good stuff. Tune into part 1. And the 60 to 70% motivation drop, peer-reviewed behavioral data shows that a massive drop in compliance and motivation, so the real-world crash, is typically going to hit individuals between day 1 and day 14 as neural novelty fades. So the neural novelty, because our adolescent essence, here's Dr. Daniel Siegel's acronym, essential spark, social engagement, novelty, creative expression. So novelty, and there's that dopamine thing. But here's where, when you are curious, which is why those who do the ventral pivot, so check out Pay It for that, who own their sovereign blueprint, your sovereign blueprint if you want a foundation, that's a guide. And then the regulated leader, that's for those of you who occupy positions and or you're ready for that next step, and you're also curious of a bit of that in-depth but really laid back analyses or sharing of the IPNB framework, of polyvagal theory, and there's more stuff that right now I don't remember. I think I mentioned PDP framework. Okay, so check out Pay It for that, and mindset practice and journal prompts. But the point that I'm trying to get to is the neural novelty. So when you're consistently lit from here, because you're in a restorative embodied, resilient is a good resilient. Okay, so your emotional mental volume, you self-regulate. So when you get explained, like when I got explained in DARE, I got it. And in fact, I've never done one of any of the drugs in my life. I moderately drink. I did smoke cigarettes. And when I quit, it was easy. I knew that it was a habit. That's why, for example, for me, I don't pick up cigarettes again. I have cigars. That's my middle ground. And the part about noticing how you use it, what job was it fulfilling? In my case, with panic attacks and a bunch more, it was fulfilling a lot of things. But it wasn't healthy or helpful, nor is the smog, you know what I mean? So again, everyone who is a smart, stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable consumer is a person who is going to be themselves. They'll be back here. You unlock your higher human potential because you know we can always stay on. But day 1 to day 14, that's the moment of truth. What motivates you to do mindset practices, to do a ventral pivot? Is it because you're doing it because you know you're doing your own well-being and external, and then you know how you're motivated? So like my nutritionist diet, I was explaining to someone, I'm motivated, I know how, by having something set and then needing to refer back. Because my little 3-year-old, I did a good job. And that's because of people making fun of me when I do a good job. But I'm a healthy perfectionist. So if I fail, I'll be okay. I don't actually crap on myself too much. It's just like, okay, well, we got a little bit lazy. We could do better, which is PS, that capacity to be comfortable with your own flaws and imperfections, but also the ease to be, because I'm not rushing anywhere. And that is why some would say, oh, you should be a little bit more rigid. And so here's that. I love to love, and my baby, he loves to laugh and love and live and learn and expand and not cast stones. Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket, never let it fade away. So my point is that we do the best we can and we stay smart, but we all can have little moments of not wanting to do it exactly a certain way. So anybody who chimes in, just remember, people love each other. And so like Neil deGrasse was saying about the smoking, he made a comment that he wishes education was better or something like that. And I'm like, is it really that? Because in DARE I learned about cigarettes. And so I'm just saying, like, we all will have learned. But Dr. Daniel Fox's presentation gives us the explanation physically, which allows a left to say, okay, but then you still have what is called your own self to hold accountable. So you'll know how you're motivated. I know how I'm motivated. You'll know what you'll be allowing and what you won't. And so that's why we're a team. We're a herd. We continue to chime in, which is why nobody's going to bug anybody when we're chiming in to keep each other healthy. And then when we understand how self-regulating, it's great. That's the number one step. Then, eating great, and our food needs to be raised great and all that other good stuff, because everything that is done with care is done the right way, sustainability. And everything with discerning, equanimous, loving tones, thanks God, will be supported. And that's where we're headed, future humans. We unlock our higher human potential. We don't go backwards. The people who are in our 3D, 4D collective, the Cains of the world, their little self-righteous energy keeps them blocked and obtuse. And also sometimes they like to just use old words. And we're okay with using new words, like Thomas Campbell, who wrote his trilogy, because we're understanding how it works. The old doesn't return. And, we are not in the caves anymore. Now, we do have some people who don't take their kids to the hospitals. They think that they're the chosen ones and that all of us are going to help, just to give you one example. Then we have the flat earthers, also fascinating. So, grounded in reality, mystic, spiritual, mindful ones, we continue to do personal growth, and our spiritual growth is amazing. So you don't feel rushed, because everything happens for a reason. Every action has a reaction, and everything that will come, that is meant to come, will follow. And you're not in an unhealthy fear. You have that which is called the rationale, to know I can give myself a little wiggle room, and I can pivot, and I can keep doing that. And like the little choo-choo train, you make it over the hump, and like a turtle. And then you consistently enjoy all of that, which are the things that we create. And those who judge humanity as yucky and bad, well, we'll come back for that in another time. In the meantime, as Sam Harris points out, grounded in reality people know that our cherishable beliefs can be falsifiable. What this means is we all have subjective opinions. We all have subjective emotions, but what do we have? So we have those objective truths. Thank you, Neil deGrasse. Science is true whether you believe in it or not, and science is why I'm like, hey, God, so listen, everyone's saved, but they don't want it. And he says, hey, Maria, remember free will? Yes, God, I remember. So we might talk about that one again. In the meantime, you got the real world. So again, remember, 1 to 14 days, and then for it to become a habit, basically it almost takes a year for some, but it can be the average of 66. So just keep those things in mind, and that's why micro habits, they're fun. And that's why journaling is fun with the mindset practices of, I don't want to do it 3 days. We're doing the diet. I got intrigued. So at a certain point, you just get curious with yourself. You're not your indulging parent, because that you have, hopefully, I have still, my parent is alive. I don't replace the parent. Nope. And so when you're doing your own self by being a grown-up, doing meaning being, okay, don't go, okay, you went there or I went there. Let's not go there. Empowered people. So embodied self-leaders, welcome aboard. Our channeling and downloading. Yes, we're going to pick up on some of that stuff that I was doing before, because, the truth, it always sets people free. And the ones who are actually understanding that there is no sacrifice, we're not in the ancient times, but that's because we don't suffer life. Nervous system sovereign people, those are the ones who are their inner authority, their inner self-mastery. It wants control because it's keeping you safe. Anticipation machine, your brain, and then your pattern recognition, your mind. And it's, you, personality patterns, temperament, you work with you, and then you continue to self-regulate, co-regulate, differentiate, and link. And there you go. We're having a good time already. Tune back in, and you can always ask questions. Join us on Substack. There's a chat for there, so you can ask questions there. You can also check out PayHip and TikTok. YouTube has lives, and Spotify, if you're hearing me or seeing me on the podcast audios, you can check out YouTube, TikTok. Those are where the lives will be at for now. And again, Substack is something that I need to roll out with the calendar and whatnot for free content and paid content. Okay, so thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.